inverse trigonometry will come into picture. So let me start with this. Principal values. This is a very, very important part here. Principal value. Principal value is where we are going. They are going to ask us find the value of something. Okay. So now you can see here. In this case, if we have taken, just let me take out a pen. Okay. So what is this principal value? Principal value is the numerically smallest angle. What is it? Numerically smallest angle. If you're going to get theta is equals to 3 pi by 2. So is that the smallest angle, or is there any value which is below that? Getting it? So numerically smallest value, that is more important. Now when we talk about numerically smallest value, it can be even positive or negative. We are not worried about the sign there. It can be in the positive range, it can be in the negative range as well. So you have to be very, very careful with that. So how we are going to take it? Principal value, we have got one standard definition here for principal value, which is sine theta. If I'm going to write sine theta as sine alpha, then I can say theta is equals to this value of theta is nothing but n pi. It depends on how much value, how many times pi you're going to take, n pi plus minus 1 to the power n into alpha. So this we are going to rarely use it, because whatever the shortcuts we have applied, we'll be able to tackle with respect to that. But yes, when you're going to write in CBSE board, it's always better you write down this definition over there. Definition of principal value is very, very important, so that you will get complete marks over there. So now if you're going to look into this, sine inverse will have an infinite number of values, because when we talk about theta here, look here, n can be 1, n can be 2, n can be 3, n can be anything. N belongs to integer. N can be 100, n can be 200, because the cycle is going to repeat again and again. So it's completely baseless. We cannot say what is the value there. It can be any value, but they will not ask you what is the value of it, what is the value of sine inverse of something. Please understand, if you're going to get any question in inverse trigonometry, your first thing is find out the principal value. If they ask estimate the value, if they ask find out the value, the only question, the particular question is find the principal value always. Getting it? Your main job is to find out the smallest angle possible. Okay, so now if you're going to look here, we have to find the principal value of sine inverse of half, isn't it? So now what is this sine inverse half? So now if I'm going to take x is equals to sine inverse of half, can I say that taking on the other side, half is equals to sine x? Isn't it? X going sine inverse going to the other side makes it as x. So what value of x is half? So you remember 0, 1 by 2. We had the second one, which is nothing but 30. So can I say it is going to be 30 degree? X is going to be 30 degree, which is nothing but pi by 6. Isn't it? Is it the only value? No. Yes, if they're going to ask you the principal value, answer is pi by 6. But is it the exact only value? No. Now, if you're going to look into the diagram here, if you're going to look into this here, if I'm going to talk about pi by 6, which is 30 degree, you can see this is 30 degree, isn't it? It's 30 degree. So if this is 30 degree here, you have to see that sine value, which will have 180 minus 30 is also sine itself. So if you're going to have this one, so if this is 30 degree, 180 minus 30 is also sine theta. Isn't it? What is 180? 180 is nothing but pi. So can I say, if I'm going to have this, pi minus pi by 6 is also going to be half? What is pi minus pi by 6? Pi can be written as 6 pi by 6 minus pi by 6 is going to be 5 pi by 6. So can I write it can be 5 pi by 6 also? Similarly, if you're going to write it in other way, I can say it can be 13 pi by 6 as well. If you keep on adding the values and if you keep on checking it, it can be 17 pi by 6 as well. And on the other side, as you can see here, it can be minus 7 pi by 6. It can be minus 11 pi by 6. If you take all the values, whatever the values you have taken here, if you find out all the values of sine of angle over here, you will get the answer as half. So your main important thing is finding out the smallest value. In this, the smallest value is pi by 6. Your answer is going to be pi by 6. Clear with this? I hope it is clear what is the principal value and how we are going to find it. Now, what we will do is we will try to understand the pattern here. How are we going to look into this in inverse trigonometric functions? Okay, because the question on domain and range is very, very important. We are going to get those. So what are the things and how are we going to find out the principal values? So now if you're going to look into this, you can see this is theta. Why I'm saying it theta? Because the range will be from 0 to 90, isn't it? It will be from 0 to 90. This will be from 0 to pi by 2. So can you say this is 0 and this is pi by 2, isn't it? Now can you see this is going to be pi, isn't it? So how are we going to take it? We will take in two different patterns. One is which is above the x-axis and other one is below the x-axis. Above x-axis, or you can take this as just theta here in the first quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, you take it as negative theta. Why? You can have values from 0 to 90 and negative 0 to 90. Please be careful with it. You have to take out 0 to 90 and negative 0 to 90. And you have to take out pi minus theta, which is nothing but 180 minus theta, and negative 180 minus theta. Because whatever you have on the top, on the bottom is going to be, it's negative. Okay, why I'm taking this pi? Why I have not taken it as pi by 2 plus theta? Why I have not taken it as 3 pi by 2 minus theta? Why I have taken minus pi by minus theta? So please look here. If I'm going to take this pi by 2 plus theta, then what happens is when you take pi by 2, the change is going to occur. I have told you when you're taking 90 plus something, you have to change. When you take 270 minus something, you have to change. 270 plus something, you have to change. So one thing which will not change is when you take a base with respect to horizontal. You can see I've taken base with respect to horizontal, plus theta, minus theta, pi minus theta, negative pi minus theta. It's with respect to the horizontal. So the actual trigonometric ratio will not change. Is it clear? Okay, so now what are the things that you have to follow? Step number 1. So if you want to find out the principal value, you have to take out few things. Step number 1, mark the quadrant in which the angle may lie, because based on this, we are going to take it. Is it in the first quadrant? Is it in the second quadrant? Is it in the third? Or is it in the fourth one? First thing, mark the quadrant. We will solve some problems over here. No need to worry about it. Step number 2, mark the directions to be taken. Yes, direction, whether you are starting from this horizontal positive x-axis or negative x-axis, which direction you are going to take it. Is it clockwise? You can see here I'm taking anti-clockwise. Here I'm taking clockwise. Here I'm taking again clockwise. Here I'm taking anti-clockwise. Direction is also important. Select anti-clockwise direction for the first two quadrants. The first two quadrants, anti-clockwise and clockwise for the third and fourth quadrant. Clear? So you have to move like this from 0 to 180 and negative 0. You can see here we have started from 0, maximum we have reached till pi minus 2, pi minus theta. Yes, this is different. We have taken from 0 to pi itself. We are not taking above pi. If anything is above pi, we are moving third and fourth quadrant. We are moving in clockwise direction. We are moving from negative 0 or pi to negative theta to negative pi minus theta. Getting it? So theta 0 to pi in the anti-clockwise direction for the first two quadrant. For the last two quadrant, third and fourth, you're going to take 0 to minus pi. That's why we have minus pi minus theta. Clear? So step number 1, make the quadrants, check the mark the quadrants in which quadrant it lies. Step number 2, make sure mark the direction whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. Third one, find the angle in the first circle. If you see that you have got minus theta, you have got minus pi minus theta, you convert such that you get the values within the first quadrant. So what you have to do is you have to simplify and try to put it in 0 to 90 degree in the first circle. Getting it? It's not just about 0 to 90. Sometimes you will not be able to put it in 0 to 90. What happens is you put it in 0 to minus 90. You put it in the second one, no problem with that. But try to make sure that you have it in the first half, for first half of the circle. Clear? Next one. At last, once you bring it down to this one, or either this one, then of course your answer is done. That will be your numerically smallest angle. There will be no angle which will be repeating between 0 to 90. It's not like you are going to have two different values. No, 0 to 90 or 0 to minus 90 or maximum 0 to 180. That's all you're going to have it. Clear? So in this case, you can see a range of principal values for all the inverse trigonometric functions are given. So we will try to look into it. We'll understand diagrammatically in the coming slides here. Okay, if you want, you can make a note of it. I'll give you out 30 seconds to write down the range here. So the same range, we will explain it, or we will take it out in the along with the diagram here. Hope it is clear. Yes, we are getting a question, sir. How we got this range? Yes, of course. Yes, it's difficult to find, remember the range. Yeah, no need to worry, dear students. What we are going to do is, that's what I think I have already told here. So whatever the range you're going to have it here, I'm going to explain it in the next slides as well. This is just an overview for you so that we are going to take it in the next one. Okay. So without any delay, then we'll move to the next one. Okay, now look here, domain and range of inverse trigonometric function. So you have already seen trigonometric function in the previous case. I'll take out a very basic example here. The first one is about sine theta, isn't it? So I'll draw the diagram of sine theta first, then we will try to take the other one. So if you're going to take this as x-axis, this is going to be y-axis. You know that sine 0 is 0, right? Sine 90 is 1 and sine 180 is again 0. So the sine angle was moving like this. It was moving like this. It's a complete cycle. This was the sine angle. So this is a graph of sine x, right? Where we have x and we have y. Now you have to find out sine inverse. How you're going to take out sine inverse? Well, the first step is, step number 1, you convert the picture from x to y. Okay, you take it from x to y. So I'll just change the axis here. So I just need to rotate it. So I'll take this picture here, and now this direction, I'm changing the figure here. You can see here, it was like this. Now, if I'm going to take it, it should look like this. It will look like this, isn't it? So now this is x-axis, this is y-axis. What I have done, whatever the diagram I had in horizontal, I've just tilted it here. So is it the inverse? No. The next step, what you're going to do is, you are going to convert this into inverse now. Now, if you're going to convert it, you will get it as inverse. So now, if you are already aware of the trigonometric functions, finding out inverse trigonometry is very easy. What is the step? First, you're going to, I can say reciprocate it, or you're going to just tilt it by 90 degree. After tilting by 90 degree, you flip it according to, or you flip it with y-axis, isn't it? So now I can say, after flipping, this is how it will look. So you have to flip with y-axis. You can see it is moving like this, isn't it? No, don't move it like this. It will move like this now. So now you can see this is how it will be there, isn't it? Now this is your x, this is your y, and you can say this is nothing but sine inverse x, isn't it? This was sine x. Please understand, this is sine inverse x. You can see that I have tilted it by 90 degree. This diagram which was here, I have tilted it to 90 degree. That tilted 90 degree, I flipped it with y-axis. You got this figure. You can see that this is nothing but a part of that particular diagram, isn't it? If you're going to look into it here, I can say this diagram, whatever they have given, is nothing but this part, isn't it? You can see it here. It's exactly this one. So now what are the values you're going to get here? Yes, if you're going to see here, you can see this is this particular maximum value. Other than that, it is moving in the same value range here. isn't it? Can I say x value is from this point to this point, and y value is keep on increasing, isn't it? So in order to understand this pattern, can I say we have to look into this one now? What was this value? Right? So now if you are aware of those sine angles, I can say that the sine angle what we had over there, this was 0, okay, and this was 1, and it was for pi by 2, and this was again 0 for pi, and this is again 3 pi by 2, and this is again 2 pi. So if you're going to see here, so this is 1, which is 1 here, and this was -1. So can you see you're going to get the same thing? This is -1, this is +1. And what about this values? So that pi and this will change. So can you say this is going to be pi by 2, isn't it? And this is going to be pi, and this is going to be negative pi by 2, and this is going to be pi over here. So you can see this is the same figure which we have got it. So what is the value range here? So I can say the domain and range. You have to find out the domain and range here. So what is this domain and range? Domain is the value of x-axis. Range is value of y-axis. So I can say that the value of x-axis moves from -1 to maximum of 1. You can see other than that it is moving in that pattern itself. It moves like this, isn't it? It is moving like this. So you can see it's moving like this. So maximum is from -1 to +1. That's all other than that. So you can see domain belongs to -1 to +1. And what is range? Range is nothing but movement with respect to y-axis. What is the y-axis here? You can see here it was pi by 2 to just, it is nothing but, yes, of course you're going to take out the principal values. You have to take out the first possible values from -1 to +1. So -1 to +1, you can see it will take it up to minus pi by 2 to maximum pi by 2, and any value above that you can bring it down. So range, you have to always take the principal value, principal range. So it is going to be minus pi by 2 to positive pi by 2. So what you're going to do here, you have -1, find out what is the value of sine of -1, minus pi by 2. You have 1, what is the value of sine 1? You will get it as pi by 2 there. I hope it is clear. So now we can apply the same thing and we can move it to the next one, that is nothing but cos. Yes, you can see cos inverse here. So I'll draw one more diagram for cos here, the basic diagram and the final one. I'll not keep on drawing all the alterations here. The basic diagram of cos. This was the x-axis. This was the y-axis. So if you're going to look into cos, we know cos 0 is 1, cos 90 is 0, isn't it? So can you say it is going to start with this value here? It's going to start from the top. So now if you're going to take it out, it moves like this and it will move on like this, isn't it? So similarly, it will move like this and it will move like this. So this is 0. This is going to be pi by 2, and this is going to be pi, isn't it? Now you can see, you can start the value from this. You can see that the range is going to be from 0 to pi. It starts from 1 to this one. This is enough. So after this, you can see the pattern is repeating. Now if you're going to convert it to inverse, this is the value of cos x. This is the part for cos x. Now if you're going to look it for cos inverse x, it will exactly rotate it. So you can see it is going to be starting with 1. So you can see it will move on like this, and it will just be moving like this. Okay, what is this range again? Again, it can maximum go up to -1 +1, -1, 2 + 1 is the value. And what about the range here? Since it is going to be positive, I will start with, it will go up from 0. Since it is starting from 0, I can take maximum up to pi. So you can see the range is going to be 0 to pi and domain is going to be -1 to 1. How to remember this once again? Cos 0 or cos 1. Sorry, I can say like the value of cos theta is 1 when theta is 0. Isn't it? What about -1 when it is 180? So of course we can take it as 0 to pi there. Clear? So you have to be very, very careful with this. So y equals to cos inverse x. If you want to find out the value using principal value theorem here, so you can say if cos y is equals to x, I can say cos y, y is equals to cos inverse x, isn't it? So now with this, we know that cos y, it values lying from -1 to 1, which we have already seen in the previous year. So now in this year, we have to worry about cos inverse. So cos inverse is nothing but y. So x is from -1 to 1. So what you do is you apply cos on both sides, or if you apply cos inverse on both sides. So x is nothing but cos y. So can you say cos y is -1? So if you want to find out the value of 1 minus 1 here, then I can say y is going to be 5. And if you want to find out the value of 1, I can say y is going to be 0. Isn't it? So now you can say domain. Domain is cos inverse x. X value can range from -1 to +1. You cannot have like a cos inverse of 35. You cannot have that, because cos inverse value will be from -1 to +1. That's all. Now for that value, it can be having any infinite values there. Clear? So I'll just draw one basic diagram for each and every like an inverse. Then we can move to the next one. I hope it is clear. Then you can see here we have got y equals to tan inverse. Yes, any idea about the tan? You know that tan 0 is 0, tan 45 is 1, and you know that tan 90 is going to be, it's like it's keep on increasing. It's going to be infinite, isn't it? Or I can say not defined. So if you're going to look into tan x value, so I'll draw the tan diagram here. Tan diagram, tan 0 is 0. And we can say tan 45, which is nothing but pi by 4, and we have got 90. So if you're going to see 90, we don't have any value defined here. Okay, we don't have any value defined for this particular tan. So what I will do is I'll just drop a very thin line, and we don't have a defined value for this again. Okay, so now if you're going to observe it carefully, tan 0 is 0. Okay, and if you're going to see tan 45, it is going to be 1. You can see it is how it is. But if you're going to see tan 90, it is not defined. It means it is not going to touch this. It will move like this. It is not going to touch this, and it will move in the negative direction as well, but it will not touch this line. Getting it? This is the curve for tan x. This is a curve for tan x. You have to be very, very careful with this. Why I have drawn this with like a very thin font? Because it should not touch it. Okay, this is the value pi by 2, and this is the value minus pi by 2. Now you can see here we don't have value for pi by 2 because tan 90 is not defined. We don't have it, isn't it? Tan minus 90 is also not there. So it means the value will range from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2, not touching it. So if you're going to look into the previous diagram here, you saw that it was here it was a big bracket. You can see there was a big bracket, not a normal common bracket. Now if you're going to observe the next one, over here, you can see it's a common bracket, isn't it? It's a common bracket. Why common bracket? You're going to use this type of common bracket, normal common bracket, when the values are not touching. So you can see the values are not touching. You don't have the value. Now, what about the domain? What about the domain here? Domain is nothing but if you're talking about the question, you can take any value. It will keep on repeating. The cycle will repeat. So if you're going to take out this value here, this cycle will repeat again and again. So you can see that the values are going to be like this. So you can have any value over here. Domain is not just from 1 to 1. It will be like this. It will keep on repeating. The same pattern will repeat. Domain is you can take x value to anything. Now, why we have taken x value anything? Because this is tan x. So this will be the graph for tan inverse x. You can see this is a graph of tan inverse x here, where you can see the x value. It will keep on moving like this. It's not going to stop. If you tilt it and if you're going to flip it according to this, it will keep on moving. X value can be anything. You can see it will keep on moving like this. It will never stop. It will never touch. It will never touch. It moves on like this. But when you look into the range, the value of y, it will be only from minus y by 2 2y by 2. After that, it will again fall under the principal values. So this is a graph of tan x, and that's a graph of tan inverse x. If you're going to look into that, you will be getting the value of y as range as minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. The same thing, if you're going to apply, you will be able to apply it for cosec and sec and cot as well. So I hope this finding out the principal value and domain and range of these things are quite clear. Any doubts in this, you can please let me know. So what I will do is I'll try going out with few of the questions from this. So let's start with few of the questions. You can even go out with example. Sine pi by 3 plus sine inverse 1 by 2. Sine pi by 3 plus sine inverse pi 1 by 2 is equals to. Yes, what's the answer here? Make it quick. Let me know what's the answer over here. So this is using the basic introduction part, or I can say basic principles of inverse trigonometry here. So now if I are going to look into this, I can say sine of pi by 3 we have. I'll keep this pi by 3 as it is, plus sine inverse of half. So sine inverse of half. So basically the question is, for what value, I'll just solve the sine inverse first. For what value of sine, you will get it as half. So we know that sine 30 is half, isn't it? What is this 30? It's nothing but pi by 6. So I can write this as sine of pi by 3 plus pi by 6. Now look here, you can get some other value as well, but always remember the principal value is most important. So what is pi by 3 plus pi by 6? I can take this pi by 6 as pi by 6 and pi by 3 as 2 pi by 6. So 2 pi by 6 plus pi by 6 is going to be 3 pi by 6. So I will get it as 3 pi by 6 if you're going to solve, which is nothing but sine pi by 2. So what is sine pi by 2? What is sine 90? It's going to be 1. So I can easily say the answer for this question is going to be option A. So now look here, this is a question which has been taken in 2023. Look here, this is the type of question you're going to get it, right? It was a second question in 2023 paper, isn't it? We can just solve it like this. Hardly 1 minute. If you're going to spend 1 minute to maximum 90 seconds, you should always keep this in mind. You should split the marks and timing properly. For each and every question which belongs to part A, I can say it is going to be part A is having MCQ and assertion reasoning question. Total, you have 20 questions, isn't it? So for one question, you can maximum spend 90 seconds. If you're going to spend more than that, it means you are moving slow. So overall, for 20 questions, you can spend 30 minutes. So now you decide if you're going to start with the section A, you should finish the first section in first 30 minutes of your exam. After that, you should start moving to section B. If you're going to take out more than 30 minutes, it means you're lagging there. You have to increase the speed and you should be able to tackle it. If you want, we can check out with the answer. A similar pattern you can see here. So if you're going to see, yes, it is going to be option A in this case, isn't it? Let me go out with question number 2 here. Yes, this is a question from, again, March 2023. So yes, question number 19. Yes, it's a recent paper. So question number 19, which is nothing but assertion reasoning. So you have to be very careful. Assertion says a range of sine inverse x plus 2 cos inverse x is 0 to pi. And reasoning says principal value branch of sine inverse x has range minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So now if you're going to look into this particular thing, I can say yes, sine inverse x has a range minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So of course I can say reasoning is true. So reasoning is true. It means I can say this one and I can eliminate option C. Why I can eliminate option C? Because it is telling it is false. All right, so now we have to check out whether it is A, B, or D. Reasoning is true. Now we have to check out with assertion. Assertion says range of sine inverse x plus 2 cos inverse x is 0 to pi. Let me check out with this. Sine inverse x, I'll write it down here, plus 2 cos inverse x. Okay, so what is the range of sine inverse x? It is going to be minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. isn't it? What is the range of cos inverse x? Cos inverse x is 0 to pi. Now, when you have 2 times of it, can I say it is going to be 0 to 2 pi? Range will be increasing. Now if you add this to this, so minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, and if you have 0 to pi, can I say overall range will be minus pi by 2? That's the minimum limit in sine inverse x, and maximum is going to be 2 pi. So this is going to be the overall range, should be the answer for assertion, but they have told it is 0 to pi, which is wrong. I can say assertion is false, but R is true. So we are going to get the answer as option D. Clear? This is how you need to tackle it. Hardly 60 seconds to 90 seconds, not more than that. I hope it is clear. Okay. Next 2 questions. Let's see how many of you are going to answer. I've solved the first 2 questions. Next question number 3. Yes, what is the value of this? I'll be checking in Q&A. I want you guys to answer it. Make it quick. Write down the value for cos inverse of minus 1 by 2 plus 2 sine inverse of 1 by 2. It's 2 sine inverse of 1 by 2. Okay. So it's a question from a concept. So please be careful. Just look here. What are the things we have in website? We have these type of questions. You can click on it and you can see what is the answer over there. You can see the explanation, but before taking out, please understand, before taking out any of the explanation, try to write down the answer, try to solve it. You can evaluate yourself. This portal is going to help you out in excelling your performance. It will uplift your performance. It's not like, yes, there is a question, I will click on it and I will see the answer. No, don't do that. When you know that you can see it, better you solve it first. Yes, what about this? Make it quick. Let me see how many of you are going to get the answer. Yes. Cos inverse of 1 by 2. Okay, make it quick. Yes, Archana has got pi by 2. Okay. Rajesh, negative pi by 2. I think you need to check on with it, Rajesh, because the answer or the values, whatever we got, it's in first quadrant. So of course, I don't think we are going to end up in negative value. So be careful with it. Okay, Shanti, it's 2 pi. Okay, please be careful. Check it out. Everyone, please make sure it's a very simple question. You're going to get this question for 2 marks. Very simple. You just click on it and 2 marks. How much time you can spend? Yes, I'll give you that concept again. For each and every MCQ, guys, please understand how to tackle your paper, because whenever you're going to write your maths exam, you'll be always in short of time. So how to simplify this time work for each and every MCQ you're going to solve, or the first section you spend 1.5 minutes on it. Next, after first section, whatever the section you're going to get, like it can be section B, section C, section D, section E, whichever the section you're going to get, check out for how many marks the question is being asked. For how much mark the question is being asked, you take that many 100 seconds. Or you can also think in other way, you can take it as 1.5 minutes per mark. So if you're going to get 2 mark question, it means you can maximum spend 3 minutes, not more than that. I don't think this requires 3 minutes, isn't it? Try to solve simple question in a faster way so that the difficult question you will get more time. This is how you need to plan your time during your exam. Yes, Darshan. Yes, pi. Okay. Siddiq. Okay, pi by 2. So I'm getting a lot of pi and pi by 2. Okay, Nikhil has got pi by 2 again. Okay, Sarah has got pi by 2. Good. So I think we can go out with the audience option, isn't it? So I can see a lot of answers which we are getting here is pi by 2. So I think we can go out with that pi by 2 itself. Very good. So I think let's check it out. Why just going to think, and why we are going to just analyze it? Why not we cross verify, and why not we solve it and check it out. So let's see, majority of the answers what we have got from the students is pi by 2. So I think according to them it should be right, because majority of the people will not give wrong answer, isn't it? So yes, after listening to the concept, you'll be able to tackle in a short time. So this question you will get 2 marks, and you will be having 3 minutes for this. Just see how much time you're going to take it here. So I'll write it here. Cos inverse of, I'll just increase the size. Yeah. Cos inverse of minus 1 by 2 plus 2 times sine inverse of 1 by 2. So what value of sine is 1 by 2? You know, 0, 1 by 2, which is going to be 30 degree. 30 degree is what? It's going to be pi by 6. So can you say this is going to be 2 times of pi by 6 here? This is done, right? Plus. Now look here, cos of negative theta. If you're going to look into this quadrant, you know that add sugar to coffee. So when you talk about add, it's following in the last quadrant. It is nothing but negative theta. Negative is going to be this quadrant. So negative, no need to worry, because cos value is going to be positive here. So for what value of negative half we are going to have it? So can you say it is going to be, yes, how much it is going to be? Cos of half. For what value you're going to get? Cos 60 is half. Please be careful with it. Yes, cos 60, what is it? Pi by 3. So pi by 3 in the sense, can I say pi by 3 in the negative way? So which is how much? So because they're talking about negative, it is 2 pi minus pi by 3, isn't it? So how much is going to be? So can I write this as cos inverse of negative half? Can I write it as cos 2 pi by 3, isn't it? Because negative in the fourth quadrant is going to be positive itself. No need to worry about that one. So cos inverse of cos theta is going to be theta itself. So I can take 2 pi by 3 plus 2 times pi by 6, which is going to be pi by 3. So if you're going to look into it, 2 pi by 3 plus pi by 3. So it's like 2 apple plus a apple. So it's going to be 3 apple, isn't it? Very simple fraction. So you can even see fraction addition is also very basic. It's like a nursery rhyme. 2 apple plus 1 apple. So 2 pi by 3 plus pi by 3 is going to be 3 pi by 3. What is 3 pi by 3? It's going to be just pi. So you can see the answer for this question is going to be pi. So if you want, you can just cross check this. Yes, you can see here the answer is pi. Okay. So you just be careful while solving the problem. That's quite simple. You just look into it and tackle it out. Okay. I'll take out one more question. Let's see. I want majority of the people to give out the right answer here. Let's see how many of you are going to give the right answer. The question is tan inverse 3 plus tan inverse pi equals to tan inverse of 3 plus pi divided by 1 minus 3 pi is valid for what? Sorry, it's not pi. Tan inverse 3 plus tan inverse lambda equals to tan inverse of 3 plus lambda divided by 1 minus 3 lambda is what is valid for what values of lambda? So you have to find out the value of lambda. I think it is, there is a simple catch. It's an MCQ question, not more than 90 seconds. 90 seconds, you should not think much. Try to find out the catch here. Let's see how many of you are going to get the answer. Yes, please start answering your question. Make it quick. Okay, not possible to solve in 90 seconds. Guys, please understand, maths is something where you need to understand. It's not just going to be not possible. Yes, it is possible. The only thing you need to find out the catch there. See what is the catch, you will be able to solve it. Okay, we'll try. Good. Good. That's the spirit. Quick. Very simple thing. Tan inverse 3, tan inverse lambda. What is the range? They're just going to ask about range. They're asking about a range is like lambda is from this to this, or lambda is more than this, lambda is less than this, or lambda equals to something. So it's just a general expression there. You're going to just, possible is inequality. That's a beautiful catch. So it's a formula. Yes, of course it's a formula. We know tan inverse A plus tan inverse B, isn't it? What is the formula for tan inverse A plus tan inverse B? It's there in trigonometry. It's nothing but tan inverse A plus tan inverse B is tan inverse of A plus B divided by 1 minus A into B, isn't it? So that's the same thing. 3 plus tan inverse of lambda, they have taken it as tan inverse of 3 plus lambda divided by or over 1 minus 3 lambda. It's just a tan inverse A plus tan inverse B formula. So yes. So we cannot derive it's actually the formula. Very simple thing. There is a catch, guys. Please understand what is the catch. That is very important. You have to find out what is the catch. Now look here, if you're going to look into any of the question here, or if you're going to look into it, denominator will never be 0, isn't it? If you look into any equation, can you find out tan inverse of something which is not defined itself? No, because we have values here, tan inverse 3, tan inverse lambda, isn't it? So if the values are there, it means the values are there on the other side as well. So can I say 1 minus 3 lambda should not be 0? Isn't it? Isn't it this one? 1 minus 3 lambda, it should not be equals to 0. So now based on this, so now if I want to solve it, when it will be equals to 0, when can I say 3 lambda is going to be 1? Isn't it? When 3 lambda is going to be 1, and you can see here both are going to be positive and it will be 0. So can I say 3 lambda should be less than 1? Why? Because if it is going to be equals to 1, 1 minus 1 going to be 0, so it should be less than 1. Very simple. Now what about lambda? Lambda should be less than 1 over 3. I think we are done with it. Isn't it? How much time? If you're going to observe it, I told you, I was telling you in from the beginning itself, there is a catch. If you would have got that catch, how much time? Hardly 10 seconds. Yes, but you have how much time? 90 seconds. Don't overthink. Always try to find out the catch in it. You will be able to answer it quick. Okay, so please be careful while solving the problems.